My dear people of Amazonia, fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement of the Southern Cameroons, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro, this day. Today is December 31 and today is Saturday, 2022. Of course, this is the last day of the year 2022. And so I know some of you will be watching this video for the first time already in 2023. So let me begin by saying a very happy, new and prosperous year 2023 to all Amazonians, to all Southern Cameroonians, wherever they are, and to all the sympathizers and supporters of our liberation movement across the globe. My people, I'm coming tonight to take the opportunity for us to take a very quick look at one of the numerous speeches presented by Mr. Paul Biya, President of La République du Cameroon, the nonagenian, literally senile fellow, who of course still has his forces of occupation on our territory in Ambazonia. My people of the Southern Cameroons, this speech this year, this time by Mr. Paul Biya, coming on the heels of the massive disgrace he swept in Washington, D.C., United States of America, is not different from all the other speeches that he has made until this date, at least during the last 6 years. For the umpteenth time, Mr. Paul Biya has claimed the return of peace, concord, and normalcy in Amazonia, and also claimed that work is going on, in terms of reconstruction. Statements, utterances that have been debunked even by people within his own government. So, my people, let us take a quick look at what he said today. Before I get to what he said regarding the situation in the Southern Cameroons, let me go to some rapacious things that he said. It may not really concern us as Amazonians, but trust me, it is important for us to know because those in our midst who are still misguided, who are still confused as to what direction to take, who still sometimes sit and imagine that something good can come out of Paul Biya and La République du Cameroon, to know that anytime you think of binding yourself to that country, you are binding yourself to barren land. You want to make Southern Cameroons to continue to be unevenly yoked with a country which is development barren, with a country which is headed straight to the abyss, with a country that has no perspectives at all for its citizens. Take a look at this. 10 years ago, Mr. Paul Biya in a speech was talking about the construction of a superhighway linking Simalen Airport, the Simalen Airport in Yaoundé, to the city of Yaoundé. A simple calculation was made to see how many kilometers that straight superhighway will cover, and it came up that it was 12 kilometers. For 10 good years, Mr. Paul Biya has been talking about the construction of this road every year for 10 good years. A superhighway of 12 kilometers only. Shamelessly, I heard Paul Biya again also talk about the construction of a superhighway linking Yaoundé and Douala. This is a song he has been singing for more than a decade and a half. And some time ago, we were even told that that road was already being constructed. And when the first images appeared, it was a two-way. That is one going and one returning. Nothing close to the eight lane, that is 4 lane on either side superhighway that was spoken about before. And this year he continues even to talk about such things. Shameful, embarrassing, disgusting, to say the least. But again, I'm comforted. Comforted in my position because this continues to show the people of the Southern Cameroons that that is not the place to be. It continues to show those misguided Amazonians who still continue to think that maybe something could happen somehow, maybe in some form of arrangement, then things can change. They will never ever change. With Mr. Biya, they will never ever change. With La République du Cameroon, sometimes people want to detach Biya from La République du Cameroon. Take note, my people. What you see in place in Cameroon is a system that was established since 1960, when that country achieved independence on January 1. Because, of course, in a few hours, La République du Cameroon will be celebrating its independence anniversary. Although they will pretend as if they don't have to celebrate it, they will pretend as if they don't know that it is a day that they they achieved independence, because they want to try and fool the world that May 20th is the national day. Because May 20th to them represents the day they effectively annexed Ambazonia. My people of the southern Cameroons, when you rise up in the morning collectively, call your folks of La République du Cameroon, your friends and acquaintances that way, of course, they are our neighbors, and wish them congratulations on their Independence Day. Because January 1 is the day La République du Cameroon achieved independence. That is supposed to be their national day. Wish them happy National Day. By doing that, you are reminding yourselves, we are reminding ourselves that we are not in any way connected to La République du Cameroon. I will be coming back here, notably on Monday, to give a reaction, and together we will analyze some of the things we saw shamefully with Mr. Frundi in Bamenda. I have the images, and I was really, I should say, disgusted with what I saw. And also, there is another gentleman, Dr. Munzo Simon. And listen to some utterances he made, and I'll bring them right back here so that together we can deconstruct such shameful, misleading, and dishonest narratives. So, my people of the southern Cameroons, to go back therefore to Mr. Biya's speech and some of the things he said regarding the situation in the southern Cameroons. He says this: I now wish to dwell on the security situation. Overall, the situation has been brought under control countrywide, despite the resurgence of urban crime and lingering sporadic attacks by certain terrorist groups in some regions. And then he goes on. Thanks to the Army-Nation link, collaboration between our defense forces and the population has contributed to reducing significantly the terrorist threats in the far north, in the northwest and the southwest regions. Now, let me halt here. First thing you need to see, you see, by creating that kind of link between what is going on in the southern Cameroons and linking it to what is going on in the far north, where they are facing terrorist threats from Boko Haram, should be telling enough to the people of Ambazonia, because the entire world has continually made a clear distinction between what is going on in the far north, which are clearly terrorist activities, and of course, what is going on in the southern Cameroons, where the people are out there claiming their inalienable right to freedom, to self-determination. Self-determination is a right recognized in the UN Charter, and it's also recognized in the AU Charter. My people of Ambazonia, by trying to create that kind of link, Mr. Paul Biya is in effect not only undermining the people of the southern Cameroons, he is characterizing us. He is equating the people, the great people of Ambazonia, to Boko Haram insurgents. That is taking an entire nation with over 8 million people and equating us with a group of brigands who have been outlawed worldwide. He has tried to ramp it down the throats of people on the international scenes that we are terrorists without success. But he hasn't given up. And so he continues. I like to draw the attention of all and sundry to the fact that anytime you think that you are trying to support some kind of thing called One Cameroon, you are at the same time accepting some of these useless, stupid, and evil labels from Mr. Paul Biya and his gang in Yaoundé. The baby killers, bloodsuckers in Yaoundé have no intention of ever recognizing anybody in the southern Cameroons as a human being. When you heard the projects, the key structural projects Mr. Paul Biya mentioned that, according to him, could generate a lot of employment, a lot of things. He mentioned them, there were three, and all of them are located in the center southeast grid as usual. This is a message even to the rest of La République du Cameroon to understand that as far as Mr. Paul Biya and his Ekan, Beti, Bulu clans are concerned, Cameroon ends within center, south, and east. And then you can hear him make sporadic noise about, ensuring the construction of structures to provide potable water to the people in Bamenda. You can hear him make a sporadic enunciation like, okay, the construction of an airport or the rehabilitation, not construction, rehabilitation of the Tico airport and I think he said again, another airport in Kribi, in order that the region should be, oh, come on, give me a break. Tico was an international airport in 1961. In 1961, Tico was an international airport. Oh yes, the pictures are all there. Foreign dignitaries landed in Tico directly from the United Kingdom. Even the Queen of England, she landed directly in Tico. She didn't pass through any other airport. So talk about rehabilitating Tico today to the status of a local airport, because it doesn't cease to exist. The status of a local airport is an insult and a direct poke of the finger into the eyes of the people of Ambazonia. He avoided talking about a so-called deep seaport project that he plans to construct in Victoria. Why does he avoid it? Because they all know it's a white elephant project. Niceties, just words. Because if they were not just words, Zacchaeus Fonjinda will not be in prison today. Because when Zacchaeus Fonjinda decided to construct an extension of the shipyard in Douala, when he decided to build an extension, a plant in Victoria, of course he was already setting the basis to accompany or speed up the construction of a deep seaport in Victoria. But it is because La République wanted to make sure that kind of project never comes to fruition that they had to cook up all kinds of accusations on Mr. Zacchaeus Fonjinda, get him arrested, trumped up charges, and threw him in jail. First of all, gave him 12 years and eventually life imprisonment. Today, where is that shipyard company? That shipyard company today is a shadow of itself. And it is in that same light that all the companies that ever existed in the southern Cameroons, the parastatals, were completely destroyed by Ekan Betibulu agents. Because all those who teamed up at all costs to take Fonjina off the shipyard were Ekan Bulu Beti people. Of course, we know of Bikoro Antoine Allo, who was Deputy Director General and thought that the money was too much to be allowed in the hands of a subhuman like Fonjinda because he hailed from the southern Cameroons. But as soon as he took over, only months after, the company started talking bankruptcy. And until today, it has gone through several hands to nowhere. These are all pointers, my people of Ambazonia. We don't belong in anything called One Cameroon. We have never belonged and we should never, ever belong. I think Mr. Paul Biya's speech today is another clear reminder to the people of the southern Cameroons that if you were already lying in limbo, thinking that perhaps they have learned their lesson, the time is now for each and every one of us to rise up again in renewed vigor, renewed determination to tell Mr. Paul Biya and his genocidal gang in Yaoundé that the people of the southern Cameroons will stop at nothing until we get what we want. And I've said here several times that the freedom of Ambazonia is divinely planned. I'll tell you why. Just let's get again into this speech. He says, with the return to calm, remarkable progress has been achieved in implementing the plan for the reconstruction and development of the said regions. Of course, you and I know that nothing is going on, nothing has been going on, nothing can even go on because they don't even have the money. Because at one point, We could hear Thousand Paul claiming that the money they were expecting from France, 40 billion CFA, to put into those reconstruction projects had not come. And then the French rose to the occasion to say, no, we had delivered on our promise and the money was handed. And of course, the money was deviated to somewhere else as usual. True that we, the people of the southern Cameroons, of Ambazonia, did not and do not want Mr. Paul Biya to come do any reconstruction on our land. Because when the time comes, we will be fully indemnified and we will determine our priorities and decide how we go about the reconstruction of our land, devastated by Mr. Paul Biya's colonial administration. And then he goes on and says, once more, I want to commend our defense and security forces for sparing no effort in protecting lives and property, particularly in areas prone to terrorism. Look here. This will be at least the sixth time that Mr. Paul Biya's government is claiming victory. I'm choking of laughter. I know we all recall the expression, the voices in the bushes. That is when Paul Atanganji was saying Mr. Paul Biya was getting ready to claim victory. This is why they came after our ghost towns. This is why they were spilling tracts everywhere, claiming that we have asked for ghost towns to be suspended or that our brave hearts have asked for the Monday ghost towns to be suspended. I have said over and over and over again, and the evidence is here, that Mr. Paul Biya is not only sinner. When the gods want to destroy a man or a leader, first they send you mad. We all know that for the children of Israel to get freedom, for them to learn and know that they were truly imprisoned, that they were truly subhumans in Israel, in Egypt, God had to keep hardening the heart of King Pharaoh anytime he had the opportunity to do something right that could cause the children of Israel to think this is home. Go back to the Bible and you check it out. Because God says, I harden his heart, or I will harden his heart. Even when Pharaoh had accepted that the children of Israel should leave Egypt, and they went and they were already crossing the Red Sea, God hardened his heart again. And he sent his chariots after them, and we all know what happened to them. They all got drowned in the Red Sea. My people of Ambazonia, so many opportunities have come up for Mr. Paul Biya to jump on them and then to show the international community that for once, him and his government and his country could be trusted. But each time, God has hardened his heart. This was another extremely missed opportunity for Mr. Paul Biya. Of course, they were already beginning to cry, victory, oh, this is going to happen. Mr. Paul Biya is going to organize this and that from January 1. So he's going to organize some dialogue. So therefore, we have lifted the ghost towns and everything. Listen, God hardened his heart for his own glory, for the sake of the freedom of Ambazonia, that no one should sit anywhere in the world and think that Mr. Paul Biya's government is a government to deal with. And here, the next level of his stupidity. He says, I also thank our partners for their multifaceted support, and particularly the United States of America for its decisive action in prosecuting those who help to finance terrorist activities in Cameroon from abroad. And he says, I urge other friendly countries to follow suit so that the resumption of development activities can be accelerated in the said regions. And here I heave a huge laughter. Of course, in one of my broadcasts, I already indicated that when Mr. Paul Biya was invited to the United States of America for the USA Africa Leadership Summit, which was mainly commercial in nature. Of course, the composition of his delegation, he had at least 60% of people in the area of defense. So in his mind, he felt that the invitation coming on the heels of the indictment and arrest of some U.S. citizens of Ambazonian extraction, that it was in line with a new policy or policy change by the United States of America that they were now ready to cooperate with a rogue system like its own. And so they got to the United States with this armada of people from the security operatives and sought audiences here and there. None was granted. First with President Joe Biden, turned down. Next with the Secretary of State Blinken, rejected. Next with the U.S. Undersecretary of State at the Bureau of African Affairs in charge of African Affairs, fee nothing. Of course, we saw that an assistant Secretary of State did receive an official from Cameroon to talk business. And I've said this before, and I want to reiterate it in the interest of those who want to listen. If the United States of America intended to change policy towards the situation in the southern Cameroons, they would do a number of things first. Number one, they will uplift the ban on La République du Cameroun regarding the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. Number two, they will resume military cooperation with La République du Cameroun by giving them all what they had given. We all know that they have suspended even aid, sometimes to the tunes of several hundreds of millions of dollars. We know that even in terms of equipment, they've made clear they don't want any equipment or anyone they ever trained to be deployed to Ambazonia. Of course, we know that the temporary protected status granted by the government of the United States of America to citizens of Ambazonia, including those of La République du Cameroun, is still in force. And like I said before, it's likely to be extended. And again, Resolution 648, voted by 100% of U.S. senators, both Democratic and Republican, is still very much alive. And the recommendations are simply being implemented by the administration. So my people of Ambazonia, one thing Mr. Paul Biya has failed to understand is that the United States of America is the number one country in the world that recognizes the rights of the people to freedom, the rights to self-determination. Don't forget that the United States of America came away too from colonial domination by the United Kingdom. And from 1774 to 1776, they fought exactly like we're fighting in Ambazonia to send the British out of the United States of America. Therefore, nobody should be lured by these stupid pronouncements from Mr. Paul Biya to think that we are in difficulties. We are not. On the contrary, and I want to assure each and every one of us, the speech made today has demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt to some key actors on the international scene, to whom we have continually said, La République du Cameroun is not trustworthy. La République du Cameroon's checks never take them to the bank because they will bounce. To whom we have repeatedly said, Mr. Paul Biya is never sincere, and that country is not a country that you get into any form of arrangement with because they never respect anything. Today, some that still felt that there was going to be at least some wee presence of integrity in the system in La République du Cameroun, with effect from this evening, should also be disillusioned. Should now say clearly, those Ambazonians have always been right. They deserve to do what they are doing, and they deserve to head to where they are going. We cannot be unevenly yoked with a rogue system that can never say one thing in the morning and repeat it in the afternoon or evening. Yes, my people of Ambazonia, the time is right to do right. And by this message, calling on each and every one of us, wherever we are, to brace up for a very turbulent 2023. It's going to be a very rough but decisive year for the liberation of our homeland. I'm assuring you, it's going to be a rough but decisive year. I'm delighted that the messages coming to me from Ground Zero indicate that the people are looking forward to intensifying the ghost towns every Monday more than ever before. Because you see, that is what is making La République du Cameroon restless. That is what makes Mr. Paul Biya come across to everyone on the international scene as a huge liar. Because each time he says this, the people gauge to see. Normalcy has returned. They gauge to see. First Monday, ghost town. Another Monday, ghost towns. Again, another Monday, ghost towns. But who is talking about? The civilian population of Ambazonia know what we want. The civil society is determined to maintain the pact sealed with the consortium since 2016, and especially January 2017, regarding the respect of the ghost towns as the form of civilian non-violent resistance. And that pact was agreed will only be unsealed when we get to Biya. And so the last part of Mr. Biya's speech pertaining to this, where he says, I urge all Cameroonians, what did he say? No. Okay. Where he said, on the political front, decentralization is being implemented methodically. That decentralization has no business with Ambazonia. You see, he did not even have the courage to talk about the special status anymore. This is because when they mentioned special status and dangled it, it was a decoy, it was a mirage. And so Mr. Paul Biya turned look left, right, because he has not heard any sound of whatsoever for a short while. He forgets that our brave hearts always observe a natural Christmas truce to enable our people to have some fun time. You see, he hurriedly forgets to mention the special status he has been mentioning since he organized his failed Grand National Monologue. My people of Ambazonia, those holes come continually also to prove to the rest of the world that even when they talked about that special status, they were insincere. The content of it, they themselves did not even know and do not still know. And that is because it was never meant to be implemented. It's evident. And this, again, is another indication to the sovereign people of Ambazonia to recognize that more than ever before, we have to gird our loins. We will finance this liberation movement more than we have ever financed it before. We will provide assistance to all our civil society representatives on the ground to continue to educate the people on the need to keep the ghost towns not only solidly alive, but also to accept and enforce other measures for non-violent resistance that will be enunciated in the course of 2023. Because we have to raise the bar higher. We are getting closer and closer to the finish line. I said the last time that at one point the speed at which we will move will amaze and embarrass everyone. Don't get carried away by what you see around you. Don't get carried away by some of the lousy noise that comes here and from here and there. Don't get soaked away by the stupid analysis of a press totally bought over and put in the pockets of Mr. Paul Biya. Focus on our liberation movement. Let your eyes remain on the prize. Like I said, I will be back here on Monday, definitely to let us talk a few things about Mr. Fundi and Monzo. So Mr. Paul Biya ends his speech on this particular aspect by saying, the senatorial elections to be held in 2023 will afford an opportunity to consolidate our decentralization option through a newly elected upper house of our parliament that represents regional and local authorities. Of course, we all know that there's going to be no election in Ambazonia. We all know that there's never been any election in Ambazonia since 2016. That Mr. Paul Biya will pick his people, select and appoint them left and right and claim that they were elected by us. But we have to continue to make it harder. I mean harder for anyone to actually claim fully to be representing us. Because as a sovereign people, we have said no to any association with Yaoundé. My dear people of Ambazonia, fellow brave warriors of the Southern Cameroon's liberation movement, the time is now for us to be more determined than ever before to forge ahead in our quest for total freedom. Yes, we are close to our goal. Yes, we are still very much on track. Yes, a few have dropped along the lines for one reason or the other. Yes, a huge majority of those who had fallen behind before are rushing back to the fold because of this conviction that once more we have to rise to the occasion and finish this job. To God be the glory.